Hi, I'm Gina Angelini with Generation Schools Network, and today we have Elaine Moncibais, a dental hygienist with Salud Family Health, and she is going to present to us about her job. Okay, Elaine, I will let you take it away, and I will go ahead and share your presentation.
Okay. Hello, my name is Elaine Moncibais. I am a registered dental hygienist. I have been a dental hygienist for 23 years now. Very long. Let's see, what was I supposed to? So, I guess to start off, I have worked for Salud for 20 years, being a dental hygienist. I did start off being a clinic hygienist. I was the only clinic hygienist there, so that means I would see the patients in the clinic. I'm working side by side with the dentist. I'm doing those treatments in the clinic. Starting 7 years ago, I started working what we call the Smiles Dental Project, and that's where we do the in-school dental services. And I have some videos here showing up that shows how we do that. So here you can see this would be one of my setups, so my table. So there's 3 people on my team for Smiles. This is my setup. So this, you see, we're in the middle school here. So we're just on the stage. We set up wherever they have room for us to set up. And then we can see at the corner of that picture right there, there's the compressor. So it's like a suitcase that we take around, and it has the suction, air, water, the handpiece. Once COVID hit, we weren't able to use our compressors fully, so we can only use like this suction out of there. But you can see right there, I'm setting up, that's a setup for doing treatment at the school. You can go to the next slide. So this would be the side. Like I said, we do all the services here in the school. The assistant that works with me, she's responsible for doing the x-rays, the intraoral photos, charting everything I find. So you can see at the top in the bag, that is the portable x-ray unit. So now there are portable x-ray units. We're able to take all x-rays. We take the x-rays every 6 months on the patients that we see. The little white thing connected to the camera below, that's the intraoral camera. So we do take photos intraoral. So my responsibility is to take all images for the doctor, x-ray, intraoral photos for the doctor, so that she can virtually from her computer see what I see. And it's called telehealth. So it's a new concept coming out now with dentistry. And like I said, when COVID hit, it really went into effect. So everything that I see, we record it, we take pictures and everything, and then I come over, check everything. The assistant has to record everything that I say, and then we send that off, saved on that patient's chart, over to the dentist. And then she has a specific day that she goes over everything and agrees with treatment or not that I have recommended. So you can go to the next. So this would be at one of our elementary schools. This is our setup. So this is all the equipment that we have to cram in and store at the end of the day. So we have 7 schools, and we've been fortunate. We have an awesome collaboration with our school district that each of our schools lets us store our equipment there. So we're not having to unload and load. We do bring equipment with us. It is a cart full, and each of us has something to carry. But at each school, you see our little bin that has our disposables. So the barriers, the gauze, bibs, and then the chairs, and then the compressors in the back. And then we have our 2 portable chairs that are underneath for each patient chair. The patient lays on those. And then our little storage bucket that has like our gloves and our hand sanitizer and stuff in there. So that's pretty much what each school we work out of like that. And we have to set that up every day when we go to each school. You can go to the next slide, please. So this is how she's taking x-rays. This is one of our employee daughters, so she said it was okay to put it. So you can see the patient chair, and then you see the assistant. She does have a light apron on, and then the patient has a light apron on like they would at the clinic. And then she just, we're don't have a chair that moves up and down. So she does have to kneel down, and we just take the images, x-rays on the students. We have to maneuver a lot more than you would at the clinic. And kids are a lot more comfortable because they're in their own classrooms. Like it's in their own school. So we have a certain working area at each school, and they're not having to leave. Parents sign them up, and we see them in their schools, and a lot of them are a lot more, feel safer and more comfortable because they're in their school, they're in their site getting services done. Next slide. So this would be when I was training one of the other hygienists to do it. I always thought this one was funny. This kid was pretty relaxed getting his exam done. He had his leg up and just getting everything charted. So we do train at least one hygienist to be my backup if ever I'm out on vacation or if I'm out sick, just so the program's always running. So there's always somebody covering and receiving services, and the schools are never without services. We can go to the next. So this is how I started. I graduated from Fort Morgan High School, homegrown Fort Morgan. I'm born and raised in Fort Morgan, so Northeast Colorado. I did take the health occupations program that we had there at our high school. So that was like where it would expose juniors and seniors to take health classes and shadow in a health career. At that time, there was a lot more choices of what you could follow. So I did, at first I did dental assisting. And when I was doing the dental assisting shadowing, I would watch over a hygienist, and she's kind of the one who took me under her wing and was like, I think you'd be good at this. And I just started watching her more. And once I graduated high school, I set my mind that I'm going to do hygiene. And it seemed very interesting, I think because of all the benefits that it has with it. So I did my prerequisites, which are your core classes that you need for a hygiene program, whichever program you want to go into. And I did 2 years at Northeastern Junior College, which is Sterling. And I got my Associate of Science so that covered my prerequisites plus a couple extra, but it was just an extra degree I wanted for myself. Northeastern Junior College, I chose that because it was far enough from home, but not too far. I could still come back and see my mom if I wanted to. So that's where I started. Once I got into hygiene school, at that time when I was went into hygiene, University of Colorado School of Medicine had a hygiene program, and it was a bachelor's program. So I graduated from the University of Colorado School of Dental Medicine. So it wasn't at Boulder, it's downtown. So now it's at Anschutz. So it's like where all the other medical divisions are at. And I think that's over on Colfax now. So I did 2 years and 3 months there. So it's about a 4-year program, 2 years for your prereqs and 2 years in the hygiene program. And I know now there's the hygiene programs. There are 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's 6 Colorado hygiene schools right now, 4, 6, and then they're starting 3 more. They got funded, I think it's Delta Dental funded for some more hygiene students to be accepted into each hygiene program, and then there's 3 hygiene schools that are going to be starting up. So those are hopefully, so that be accepting more hygiene students in and more hygienists coming out into the work field. Next slide. So this is the model where we work, Salud Family Health Centers. These are our dinos. This is what they were using, to promote Salud and everything with, this is their little, now I think this is just what we use for the little kids and stuff. Go ahead and next slide. So this is me. This is when we do outreach. So along with the Smiles Dental Project working in the schools, we do a lot of community fairs. We do a lot of health fairs. I'm the one on the right, and Lily is the other hygienist who's training to be my backup. She's actually from Florida. So I was just showing, we get hygienists from everywhere. We do have different backgrounds, different minorities, being hygienists, and just giving patients education and how to take care of their teeth. Next slide. So leadership, I think as a dental hygienist, having a good leadership skills, because whether you're working in the clinic, working independent as a independent hygienist, or working in the school program like I work, we're always having to lead a team. You're always having to be in charge of some duty. You're having to be in charge of some team. You have to oversee assistants, oversee another team of hygienists. Like for me, I have to run the Smiles Dental program, so I'm the only one who does it. So overseeing 2 staff that I have, and then Colorado is pretty big with having hygienists as professional leaders in our professional board. We have a lot of great hygienists that have always pushed for hygienists to be our Colorado hygienists to be able to work to the top of our scope, that we can do a lot of things as a hygienist. Integrity, sorry, of course, having that, making good choices that's going to impact your schooling, and that's not going to impact your studying and affect your work and your career. Of course, going into college, you're going to have so many things thrown at you, different choices you're going to have to make, and you're going to want to make good choices so that they don't affect you having to get a scholarship or being denied at something. You just always remember, your bigger picture of where you want to end up and making good choices. Communication, being able to effectively talk to your instructors, and speaking on scholarships and entrance interviews. So always making you have proper communication, proper talking skills, so you can talk with peers, talk with your instructors, talking with patients. So all of that's important. And then, like I said, with the program that we do, we talk a lot to the families and to the patients, educating. Having different, for the little kids, elementary schools, we see preschoolers, we talk a different down to them a little bit different than I talk to the high schoolers. But you have that in that range of how to communicate with different people. Next slide. So my advice would be have very good studying habits. You can be like, I can do that next time. I can do it next time. Keep going. And don't procrastinate too much. You're going to want to study, keep up on things. Good note-taking skills. You're going to want to, so you can study really quick, study off of your notes so that you can remember things. Apply for scholarships. As Latinos, as minorities, there is a lot of scholarships out there for us in dental, and to continue on, we just have to search for them. And like I said, they don't. A lot of I have a lot of kids coming to me about applying for scholarships. A lot of them seem to think you have to have like straight A's, 4.0 GPA. You'd be surprised. They look for a pretty roundabout students to grant scholarships to, and just knowing that they're determined and that they're going to strive, work for what you're going to want. It's going to be hard. There's going to be, some days where you're like, what am I doing? Getting prereqs, even in the hygiene program, it's going to be difficult, but it is worth it. I mean, we've all had to struggle, and we do come out. And then, like I said, staying out of trouble and distractions that affect you from going on further. It's kind of sad when I see a couple students, when I see them maybe sophomore year, they have plans that they want to go this and this. Between junior and senior year, they've made some choices that they're not able to continue on, or they've just totally given up on themselves. So just staying focused, I think, and know, you want to continue further on. A lot of our parents, you see them struggling day to day at their hard work, at the jobs that they do. And my mom was a single mom, and so I had to raise myself a lot, pretty much. So seeing how I can be there for my students and change my daughters, and see how I can change their upbringing and their lifestyle, that I can be there for them where my mom wasn't, is what benefits for me. So I provided my email if anybody has any extra questions or anything. The CDHC on my title is a Community Dental Health Coordinator. So it's an extra certificate that I took in 17, 18. So it's helping, it's like a dental health coordinator. So it's helping, it's kind of like a social worker, but in the dental field, so that you can basically connecting more families, more people to dental services when they're needed. Delta Dental was trying to push that out a lot more. I know there's a lot more hygienists and people going for the CDHC. It's a certificate, so it's a year-long program. Right now, I know Rio Salado, I did mine from Rio Salado, which is in New Mexico, but I believe there's another college that has a program as well coming out. That, I don't know if there's any in Colorado. I didn't check that have that program that's in person. But it's a start that you could look into that. It's like I said, it's a year, and then it gets you like a foot in, and you can start working with different organizations like that. So if there's any questions. Or is there anything you guys wanted me to explain more?
I have a question, actually. So when you're in the classrooms, providing dental care to the students, what happens if a student has a cavity or something that needs to be addressed?
So when I will find cavities at the exam. So when we're doing, you run 2 chairs in the one appointment for the student. They are, like I said, they did their x-rays and their internal photos, and I'm in there charting. I'm looking to see what I find. So I've already said this is possible a cavity. So it's either a big cavity that I don't think I can do here in the school, or it's a small cavity that us hygienists in Colorado can place small cavities. So I will send that off to the dentist in the patient's chart. She agrees with me or not, looking at the x-rays and at the photos. If she agrees with me, then our navigator has to contact the parent, send out a consent for that parent to agree that I can do that cavity here in the school. And so with they're called interim therapeutic restorations. So they're the small cavities that I call them small cavities here. I do everything by hand to scoop out the cavity, and then we fill it here in the school. And then we check up on them like every a month, and then 3 months, and then 6 months. And then by that time it's their x-rays due again, and we check to see if the cavity is maintained stable, like if it's stopped, like if they went to the clinic to get a filling. So it's the basic same thing treatment, but we're just able to do those here in the school.
Nice. And so oh, go ahead. You go, Rebecca.
Oh, for people going into your field, being exposed to what you're doing, what's something that I know you were giving some encouragements about being a junior and senior and the choices. Now that you have been in your experience for over 20 plus years, and thank you for your service, because thank you. What could you also kind of recommend? Like, you've seen a lot of people in your line of work, and so being hands-on and instead of book reading or things like that, what is something else that you can give knowledge on in regards to, like, some people feel like it's a video game, some people feel people have different ways of compartmentalizing their day at work after seeing so many. So what would that be like for you to compartmentalize or to,
like
to understand better?
At the end of the day?
Like decompress. Yes.
So I go home. I am very busy at home. I have 3 daughters. My oldest is a freshman in college, but my sophomore and my 5th grader are very active in sports. So my 5th grader does volleyball, soccer, and basketball. My sophomore does soccer and volleyball. So we are always on the go. Practice. One of them has practice. One of them will have camp. They play club. So even off season, we are on the weekends busy traveling somewheres. And just spending time with my family a lot, my mom and my sisters. Do a lot of family stuff, hanging out at home. I love to travel. So during off seasons or during slow times, we do try to plan a lot of vacations with the family to go somewhere quick and travel and kind of reset that way. But I love my job. So there's sometimes when I do come home really stressed, and I kind of just sit up or take a shower, maybe watch some TV, or like I said, check over homework that I have, and just keep going. But I love my job. So a lot of times that's not much of it. I think a lot of what's more stressful for me is behind the scenes of everything that is required for us to keep this program running, because it's a lot harder than working at the clinic. At the clinic, everything's there. You have somebody doing their jobs, which is between us 3 here is what we do. It's a lot of it compressed into 3 that we have to do. So ordering supplies, making sure consents are in, checking insurance. Ophelia has to schedule, making sure, like I said, consents are in, making sure everything got sent over correctly in their exams on the computer, checking schedule. Like today we came into this school and they were like, oh, we've been using the stage, which is where we work. You can see, there's stuff everywhere. And they were like, you might not be able to work in there today because they've been using it for the Lincoln graduation, which is the alternative school. So we had to come in and move a whole bunch of stuff out of our way so we could get in to work. So sometimes it's like that stuff. You're like, you have to come in and move stuff around, get all sweaty, get a workout before you even get to set your stuff up and then start working. Some of that stuff is kind of what's frustrating, but I think you just have to know you have to wing it a lot and be okay with that. And like I said, public health has been my love. There's hygienists who do clinic or private, and that's what they like. There's hygienists who have come out to try and shadow me, and they don't like public health. They don't like what I do, which is fine. We all have a different, but I think mine has been, like I said, since I was little, growing up with a single mom, poor, needing services myself, I think that's just where my heart was always at, to wanting to fulfill and help people that I know I was in the same boat as.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate that.
So quick question, I have this burning desire to know, do you have any continuing education that's necessary as a hygienist?
Yes.
Once you become one? Okay.
So we have to have 30 hours of continuing education every 2 years. So we renew our license through the state every 2 years. And every 2 years we have to have that we've done 30 hours of continuing education. And we have to have proof that we've done it in case you get audited. Not everybody gets audited, but if you were one of those lucky ones to get audited, you have to have proof that you've done it. And so, I mean, I still love learning, so it's not an issue for me to continue education. But we have to have 30 hours of continuing education. My job where I work with Salud, one of our benefits is they give us certain hours for continuing education and money to take these classes. You've got some doctors that they don't, so the hygienist has to pay for it on their own. But with Salud, that's one of our benefits. With working with Salud too, like I said, I've tried to convince a lot of these kids that are going out for hygiene to come back to work here in Fort Morgan, because we have a big need. But one of the benefits working for our Fort Morgan Salud is we do qualify for loan repayment. So, you get all these scholarships, you get scholarships, but if you have to take out loans, and that's where a lot of kids I know get stressed out. It's like, it's going to cost a lot. It is going to cost a lot, but it's going to cost a lot no matter what you do. But one of the benefits of coming to work back for our Salud, there's a couple other Saluds too that qualify for loan repayment, like I said. So they'll pay, you agree to work 3 years and they pay a certain amount of your loans. And then if you agree to work so many more years, you get more of your loans paid back, because it's through the government. Because we're so rural, so it's a rural need, and that's what they try to do to recruit to come work back in our area.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a quick question. So you mentioned that like the backup hygienist is from Florida. So if you are a registered hygienist in one state, can you move to another state and continue practicing, or do you have to get like relicensed? What does that look like?
So certain states, Colorado is not one, but certain states you come in and you have to renew, you have to apply for a license, and they check to make sure that your schooling over there was equivalent to here. Sometimes you have to take what's a jurisprudence test. It's kind of like the law test, like certain rules that we have to abide for. You have to take that to understand that that's what the changes are going to be here. There is a new bill trying to go through, push, where it's kind of the same for everybody, so that a hygienist from here can go work and travel in Georgia and Texas without having to jump through so many hoops. And that's brought about because so many military families, they get transferred, but yet dental personnel couldn't go as easily as to work in another state with their spouse because of all the different hoops they had to go through. So, but you can go work at another state. Some states don't have the full limits to a hygienist, like Colorado. Colorado, like I said, we're one of the top states that a hygienist can give anesthesia without a doctor on site. We can own our own practices. I can do the fillings here in the school, replace other types of vitamin on the teeth to help stop the cavity. We have a lot of duties that we can do that aren't as tied down, whereas some states they still don't have those that a hygienist is allowed. But that's where you would have to take those different tests and the different rules, so that you know what you can and can't do at those new ones, and then you apply, and then you're awarded your license, and then you can start to work. And then you still have to abide then by the 30 hours of continuing education and then renewing your license every 2 years.
Thank you.
I have a question. We heard some of your challenges that you face, especially with going from school to school. And I'm curious, what is your favorite part of your job, and what words of encouragement could you give to students who are possibly interested in going into the dental field?
So the positives, I think, is working with the students. One of my biggest joys is having a kiddo who's scared to death to see us. But by the third appointment, plops in the chair and just opens up and is happy to see us because they realize we're not that scary. Getting the kids all exposed to a dental personnel, seeing us in our lab white coats and knowing that we're not scary. Having the kids know that they see us and they're like, it's a trigger. Oh yes, I need to make sure I'm taking care of my teeth. I need to brush. Taking care of some of the decay that some of these kids have had. We see a lot of undocumented. After COVID, after those lockdowns, we came back to a lot of kids having a lot of needs, and a lot of them being scared to have to go to the clinic, but we can do it here at the school for them. It helps the parents so they're not having to miss work. And I think having those relationships with the kids, I've got a couple where I've seen them since elementary school and they're graduating this year, and just having that relationship with them where they know me already and they already know what's going to happen in their exams and their cleanings, and just having that joy that they're not afraid of me anymore, and just having those relationships with them.
Thank you.
Wait, what else did you tell me?
Words of encouragement for students who might be thinking about entering the dental field.
It's a great field. It is a very great field. It's rewarding. And whether it's dental, hygiene, or you go off to specialty. And like I said, it kind of seems overwhelming at first when you see the classes you have to take to even get into the program, looking at the interviews that you're going to have to do. But it's rewarding and it's very worth it, making a difference, making somebody smile or getting them out of pain.
Thank you.
Okay, it looks like we're good on questions. Elaine, that was a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much for sharing with us about being a dental hygienist.
In depth or not enough, but let me know if there's any other questions or anything you need me to.
It was perfect, and I appreciate that you shared your email. So anybody watching this, if you would like Elaine's email and you didn't see it on the recording, please feel free to reach out to any of us at Generation Schools Network, and we will provide that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Elaine.
Have a good rest of the day, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.